In number 10, we're going to talk about parabolas. I think this is our first parabola problem. I'm not sure. It says find the standard form of the equation of the parabola with the given characteristics and the vertex at the origin. So again, the vertex is our HK at the origin. That would be 0, 0. The parabola passes through the point 9, 6 and has a horizontal axis of symmetry. So in other words, it must be a horizontal parabola if it has a horizontal axis of symmetry. So, parabolas that open left-right take on this format. Parabolas that open up-down take on this format. So we're going to be using the first one, where the y's are squared and not the x's. The y's are squared, but not the x's. Okay, so I'm going to write down the formula. Let me just erase this. I don't think we really need it. We do need to know that it's opening to the left or to the right so that we know to use the first equation. So I'm going to write down that formula, 4p times x minus h equals y minus k squared. And your teacher may have written it where your y minus k squared is on the right side and the 4p times x minus h is on, or vice versa, where your y minus k squared is on the left and your 4p times x minus h is on the right. But it doesn't matter either way. So our HK, H and K are 0, 0. So there's nothing there. That's just like that, because your H and your K are 0. It passes through the point 9, 6. So anytime that they tell you that a graph passes through a point, that's a big hint that you're going to plug that point in for x and y. And that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to plug in 9 for x, and we're going to plug in 6 for y. So it's going to say 4p times 9 equals 6 squared. So that would be 36p is equal to 36. Divide by 36, divide by 36, p would equal 1. P would equal 1. So when we go back, we have to plug in p, the p value. We would be plugging in p, h, and k. But of course, h and k are both 0, and p is 1. So we're going to have 4 times 1, 4 times 1 times x equals y squared. So 4 times 1 is 4. So 4x equals y squared. That's the equation of our parabola. Number 17 is also a parabola. It tells us right here, says it is a parabola. And so we're going to be using one of those again. I notice from my equation, I notice that my y's are squared. So we're going to be using the first one again because the y's are squared. So, whoops, my eraser didn't kick in. There we go. All right, so in this problem, it says find the vertex, the focus, and the directrix of the parabola. First, let's put it into standard form. So we want to rearrange it so that it's in this form right here. So we're going to leave the x's on the left side and leave the constant on the left side of the equal sign. We're going to move all of our y's to the right side. So I'm going to leave the 4x on the left side. Here's my equal sign. I'm going to add y squared, so it becomes positive y squared on the right. I'm going to move my 2y as well. So I'll have to add 2y, add 2y. And my negative 33, I'm going to leave on this side, on the left side where it's at. Okay, this is going to require a little bit of completing the square. Remember the plus a blank? And what we add to one side, we have to add to the other side. So to fill the blank, I always tell my kids to fill the blank, you're going to take half of b and square it, half of b. So b is 2, half of 2 is 1, 1 squared is 1. So we add 1 to both sides. Okay, now we have 4x minus 32 is equal to, and the shortcut for factoring this, it's going to be a squared up there, is y, and it's always half of your b term. So y plus 1. Half of a positive 2 is a positive 1. If that had been a negative 2, it would have been a negative 1. Okay, now we're going to factor out the 4 over here because we're trying to get it to see how the GCF has been factored out, and we just have a 1x inside. We're going to do that. We're going to factor out the 4 so that we have 1x minus 8 equals the quantity y plus 1 squared. Now we say it's in standard form. When it's in standard form, we can find our vertex. So our vertex is always our HK. H is always with X, K is always with Y, and it's always the opposite. So in this case, our vertex is the opposite of negative 8 is positive 8. The opposite of a positive 1 is a negative 1. So our vertex is at 8, negative 1. I would go to my graph paper and I would graph that, plot that point, 8, negative 1. Okay, now let's talk about the 4p number. Our 4p number is 4. So see how we have 4p in front? Our 4p number is 4. So 4p is equal to 4 for us. So p would equal 1. P, here it tells you what p means. P is the distance from the vertex to the focus, and p is the distance from the vertex to the directrix. So vertex to focus, and I need to know which way this opens. If p is positive, let's see, it opens left or right. If p is positive, it opens to the right toward positive numbers. It's going to open this way because p is positive, it opens to the right. If p is negative, it would have opened to the left. P is negative, it opens toward negative numbers, toward the left. Okay, so our p is 1. The focus is always inside the parabola. Focus is always on the interior. So our focus is from the vertex to the focus. P is the distance. So 1 unit, so that's our focus right there. That would be 9, negative 1. 9, negative 1 is our focus. And our directrix is on the other side of our vertex. Also, p units away. So 1 unit away, we have the directrix on the other side, and it looks like that. That would be x equals 7. If you don't put x equals, he'll mark it wrong. It's got to be x equals. Okay, are we matching down here? We are. So they're going by, notice they're going by 2's on this. And our vertex was 8, negative 1. 8, -1. I think it's the first one. Remember, they're going by twos. Yeah, it's definitely not that one. Definitely not that one. That's 8, +1. So it's the first one.